because 8 years ago when we filmed that guy's lucky that Comey didn't scoop him up because they were very hostile toward whistleblowers or anybody who might start the show. Now, I want to cut to a quick clip from my interview with John Cruz, who is the HSBC whistleblower, and he's going to mention some things. Now, the difference is you have someone like, I don't know, Tulsi Gabbard in charge of Homeland Security. So if they charged HSBC now, they probably wouldn't lose the money. But back then, when it's like handing money back to the deep state so you can continue your narco terrorism, drug money laundering type of operation, it's a whole different thing. It's no longer pay to play. People like Comey were the ones who protected the old establishment, the old guard, if you will. And yeah, I mean, he just was tweeting some seashells, everybody. Nothing to see there. It wasn't political at all. You saw his other tweets with, women for Harris or whatever, all those shirts that he's wearing. And like, you see his angle. That's not an objective lawman. That's somebody with a political bent who got into power. So let's go to John Cruz. This interview that I did with him was titled "Big Banks Too Rich to Jail." HSBC whistleblower John Cruz. Let's see. He's going to pull back the curtain just a little bit for us.
How do you not do a Sarbanes-Oxley reporting? How do you not file a labor dispute within time frame that's supposed to be done as a...
I just thought it was interesting that he mentioned Sarbanes-Oxley. I didn't get that. I was just reading the transcript for this part, and I didn't see that. So it must have misspelled it in the transcript. Sarbanes-Oxley is the law that I was a whistleblower under, and maybe I even have a retort. I haven't watched this part. Let's go ahead.
Attorney who's supposed to have done this for years and not do it. So my case could be thrown out of court. Was he paid off? I don't know. Was Homeland Security paid off? Well, they paid a $1.9 billion fee to pay off the government, and I don't call it a fine because it was not a fine. That fine, I told the U.S. government 4 years prior that they were going to pay that amount. They had it sitting in their bank accounts.
So the HSBC type of banks, I mean, that's not much money to them. That's like, I think if you steal $10 million and you have to pay $1,000 fine, that's not equitable. I mean, that's good business if you're the criminal, I guess. But as people thinking that we're working in a free country and that these banks are legitimate and not participating in a thing that's actually taking away everyone's freedom, I think it's naive at this point. After so much evidence has come forward. And HSBC, this isn't the first time that someone has made accusations against that bank. Did you know about any prior, what did you know about HSBC at the time when you were escalating concerns about the potential for money laundering and all this other stuff?
I knew they were a bank from Britain, Hong Kong, Shanghai Banking Corporation, that they took over Marine Midland. That's about all I knew of them. And I knew they wanted to grow within the region that I was in, within the metropolitan area of New York. I did not know till after the fact that they were a bank of blood. They started out their blood money.
Yeah.
That's how they started.
Yeah. So once you decided to go outside the company, you've got a lawyer that won't do anything for you now. When did you go to the IRS and Department of Homeland Security and these other agencies that you thought might exert their authority to put a stop to this?
Well, in 2009 is when I first went to the district attorneys in Long Island. From then on, it was just like many agencies going forward, including Homeland Security, including the IRS, Department of Justice, and all. And no one would do anything. I mean, when first district attorneys I went to in Suffolk County there said, well, we can't do anything to help you, even though they're committing crimes here. And we can see that on paper. But since other district attorneys in Queens are handling the case, it'd be like two squirrels trying to get a nut off a tree. Neither squirrel is going to get the nut. And I looked at him and said, but that nut has already been bought and paid for.
The more the universe slips through their fingers. So that was 8 years ago. And on a piece of paper, just write down how many other platforms gave John Cruz the time of day. Right, that's an important story. It's one of the biggest crimes in history. And the people who got away with it, one of them, he just got questioned by Secret Service. So I'm not saying it's a win. I'm just saying it seems like we have some winds of change going on, and we should appreciate it because 8 years ago when we filmed that guy's lucky that Comey didn't scoop him up because they were very hostile toward whistleblowers or anybody who might start the show. I mean, let me just take you over to the history blueprint real quick. Because he talked about Covington and Burling, right? Let's go back here. Covington and Burling. That's the Department of Justice, Kissinger Associates, and it's founded by Kissinger's partner, Mac McLarty. And what do? Operation Gunwalker. They've got a couple communist spies. They got some Rhodes Scholars. They got Michael Chertoff. Oh, he's the one that has body scheme. When you go to the airport, you can thank Michael Chertoff and the Israeli security policies implemented after 9/11 for that. And then the too big to fail policy, that's part of Covington and Burling. But if you go back, there's also another law firm, and it wasn't mentioned, so I will mention it. It's called Hogan and Harrison. And Loretta Lynch, the aforementioned attorney general, hangs out there along with Clinton's buddy who got caught for treason, Sandy Berger. And this is a Clinton supported, law firm that also they work, arm's length with James Comey through. So there's interesting overlaps in the past 8 years since that HSBC interview was filmed. And back then, that's all shot on mini DV tape. And those episodes took me like 60 hours to edit because computer speed wasn't too fast back then. Anyway, for me, at least. So that was interesting to see that footage and how I cut it. And yeah, not bad. I think it has aged like a fine wine so far. And the things we said back then in the studio is pretty much still relevant and applicable today. That's from a series called History So It Doesn't Repeat. And, Grand Theft World members have access to all those types of things. So, gentlemen, did you learn anything about James Comey tonight that you did not know heretofore?
I mean, all this is new to me. Like, it's crazy.
Right?
And it's just so interesting too. Like like what Brad was saying, like the intersection of all these people. Like, there's just like the deep states, like the big club, you ain't in it, all that stuff. And so this is fascinating to learn about all these different layers. And it's like, it seems like in several different fronts that a lot of these people who have been so involved in all these different schemes, like they're all crashing out. It's all getting, so I don't know. It's really interesting to see. Yeah.
And they were untouchable not that long ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much so. So who knows what this is about, but it is interesting. It is interesting.
I didn't know all the extent of Comey's connections, like just how far. I was expecting him to like be a Rhodes Scholar or something crazy. But it just reminds me that like with his daughter also still being in a position, right, where she's overseeing Epstein, P. Diddy, like it makes you really wonder, like, if it runs in the family to be the fixer or the bag man, or if it's like you're indebted in some way, right, or blackmailed in some way. Now you got to do this for us, and so you got to stay in that position. And yeah, just seeing that if you trace all these connections, not just sitting on boards and following money and history, but family lineages, like I think it'll be interesting to see if there's more scandal around, like if Comey goes down, if there's going to be more scrutiny on his daughter and what she's been overseeing, because almost everyone that she's been prosecuting has suddenly been getting off or getting a free pass or getting Epsteined. And like, how many synchronicities or how many coincidences can there be other than, I guess it has to happen 8,647 times.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then the other thing too, I was going to say is, like, I saw a lot of people covering this. Obviously it was all over X. I remember when the day it happened, like Alex Jones was all over it, like did a whole show on it, tweeting. But you don't get this level of info. There's nowhere on the internet where you will get this type of information. And so I just want to say, you guys, if you value this work, like, you got to support it. And so you got to become a Grand Theft World member, 100%. And then you got to share the show. Got to share the show. I mean, no one else, like everyone else is out there talking about 8647 days since 9/11 and think that they're like the edgiest ones of them all. But you could be the ones to be like, hey, you know about HSBC? Like, hey, watch this segment on Grand Theft World, dude. So it's like, you guys, you could be like the super legit in the know one and impress everybody with your facts and your knowledge. So just a call to action, man. Like, you got to support the show, become a member, grandtheftworld.com, and then share the show. So that's all I got to say on that.
That's all I have to say about that. I have one more thing to say, because this talk of Kissinger Associates has come up. Superclass, the global power elite and the world they are making, they have the world on their key ring, as you see. David Rothkopf. Oh, I have to go. Is that a UPC? It's probably just in the other studio. Hopefully it's not waking up my wife. Sometimes when those batteries go bad in the power units that back up the computers, they go beep, 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 beep. Anyway, Superclass. This guy's Kissinger Associates partner. He's also the one that tried to bribe Alex Jones to join the New World Order, right? And they're very upfront about everything except their inheritance of the HSBC drug monopoly. That's part of the Anglo-American double-cross system. This has been going on since 1938, Operation Underworld, when MI6 started partnering with Meyer Lansky, and it's supporting the heroin trade, which was the HSBC. Like they're like, hey, let's use a mob front now since we don't have ships with sails going around to China anymore. They'd already subjugated China. It was called the Century of Humiliation. So there's a lot in here. There's also a lot about corruption in the FBI. Consequently, FBI Division 5. Louis Blumenfeld, I think it was his name. Anyway, it's like the British insertion inside of FBI to do the HSBC type of work from within our own country. So if we get caught, it's on us, but they get the profits. You know how it works. You've seen the movies. It's all in Donnie Brasco. So there's more on that, but like I said, there's more weeks of Comey coming up probably because he's not just going to skate, I don't think. He's not in that type position anymore.
Pardon my ignorance as a Canadian, but FBI, does that stand for furthering British influence or furthering British Israelism? I always get confused.
I do get confused. I don't think it represents fidelity, bravery, and integrity. But that's a good label to put on the box when you're doing this one nation under blackmail type stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the sign says fidelity, bravery, and integrity. I think John Cruz has a lot more fidelity, bravery, and integrity than the people that he was up against. And I think he probably learned. I haven't checked in with him. It's been 8 years, but I bet he didn't go back to work for they, them, those, or maybe he did. We'll have to see. Steve Biko got killed by the establishment, and then his kid went to go get schooled by them. So did Gaddafi's kid. So there's a lot of that too. Don't be like that. We have a lighthearted topic next. Should we make it lighthearted? I had a Ping Trip video where Rogan and David Goggins take the piss out of Bert Kreischer, and it's pretty hilarious. But I'm concerned that we won't get all the substance in the show tonight if I do stuff like that. So I have another Rogan clip, and it's where they're talking about the new Yay video. And I won't misname him. I'll just keep calling him Yay. I'm trying very hard because I saw what happened to Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan subscribed to him. He got the number of Ye's subscribers wrong, and then Ye got up and walked off, and we were left with Sneeko, and that's not good. It's worse than Piers. So what I thought was, let's get the CNN, whatever. I haven't seen it. CNN's going to tell you about Ye's new song, right? Now we do have a thing in this country called freedom of speech, and it is your freedom and liberty. If you want to offend people, go ahead. You're going to have to suffer the consequences. Right there, you have freedom of speech, but you do have consequences sometimes if people don't like what you have to say. They might do something about it. So I don't know if this is all pre-planned. Like he started with his Super Bowl ad, right, and Balenciaga mask on Alex Jones back in the day, and like he just keeps pressing that button. Like he's like one of those mice in the thing hitting the pellet, hitting the thing to get the pellet. Yeah. So I don't know where he can go beyond this. I have not heard the song. We will not be playing the song. So just right there, it's like I have better taste. I don't know. I hear it's a catchy beat, but do I really need that catchy beat? I don't think I do. I've never heard any of his other songs. Why would I start now? So I'm going to keep my trend rolling because I'm pretty good with that Ye in my life. I like to see the antics though. I mean, it's interesting. He knows how to make entertainment go on. He's like the Donald Trump of music out there. Twice a year, I teach a course called Autonomy. It's a 12-week course. It teaches leadership, entrepreneur skills, executive skills, all these types of things that I saw were taken out of our education system in order to make the schooling or indoctrination system that we've all probably went through. And it has served us well enough to be interchangeable cogs in the machine of the globalists. But if we want a homestead, if we want write our own ticket, work from home job, work from anywhere type of situation, they're not exactly handing those out at the end of college. They give you a piece of paper and they're like, good luck. So reality is dropping us off here, but the demands of reality are up here. So I created Autonomy to help people close that gap for themselves so they can level up their skills to the demands of the situations that life is putting in front of us presently. Life's demands of intellect and understanding precision and complexity are ever increasing. The schooling didn't prepare us for it. The media is not going to do anything but reinforce what schooling prepared us for. And so we're going to have to take a leadership position and take steps off the beaten path to kind of blaze our own trail in life. What makes the Grand Theft World podcast unique, invigorating, exciting, and informative? Most other podcasts out there are either doing straight up interviews or they're just covering the daily news. They're covering current events from the day they happened. And that is effective. It's useful. It's a great starting point. And then sometimes these current events change during the week past the first story. So we like to give it a little time. You have to wait till some of the dust settles on these stories in order to give them accurate coverage. And the other thing that's really missing in the media landscape is covering the articles that are coming out every day. That's great. That's necessary. But who's bringing in contextual history so that you can understand what has been going on for decades and decades to lead up to the machinations and actions that we see unfolding today? So what we do here on the podcast is we cover current events. Many of these things are censored, but we wait about a week. As a forensic historian, I focused mainly through my career on the history of globalism and collectivism and things that they call maybe the New World Order. There's a lot of facts to these sort of circumstances, groups, events, activities, working groups that they've had over time. So for Grand Theft World listeners, we not only break down the current events, most of which that are censored during the week, we provide you with contextual history, we give you the source notes, the references, we do deep dives, and this really empowers you with an understanding of context and history so that you can make more informed decisions in your life. There's also a community, a membership where you guys can actually ask questions and we can get into the show and we can share evidence. And there's a town hall weekly for Grand Theft World for those who listen to it and are interested in covering the stories that we don't get to during a 6-hour show. Listening to it an hour a day, you could easily consume the week's news, but you're going to have substance and meaning and context and understanding. And with that, you can make higher quality decisions in your life. So if you're interested in more quality in your life, go to grandtheftworld.com, click podcast at the top, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
These allegations are false.
This isn't Grand Theft Auto, folks. This isn't a video game.
What are the most surprising things that you discovered once you started pulling on that thread? Who he was connected to, what institutions he was influential over, what events he participated in?
Come on, man. What are we talking about? Come on, man. No.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
I got this quote because you said you didn't know much about Klaus Schwab. I made it my job to, as soon as this happened, I'm like, okay, this guy's their front man. Let me learn about the official history of the World Economic Forum. I got their 40-year history. I got every book that Klaus Schwab has written or ghostwritten. I went through those books. This is one of the most interesting passages.
Come on, man. Come on.